Hey guys, welcome to Vony Movies Recap. Today I will show you a comedy, fantasy, thriller from 2012 called The Brass Teapot. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Before we start, please subscribe and leave a like to help the channel. The movie begins with Alice and John Macy seem to be a contented couple, but they struggle to form ends meet. As John prepares to urge out of bed one morning, Alice offers to create breakfast. John, however, reminds her that they need nothing within the fridge. Alice suggests visiting her mother's house later to eat dinner, but John remarks that he'd rather starve. Soon, John leaves the house and heads to Figure on his bicycle. John works as an insurance telemarketer in Laurel Springs, while Alice may be a job-seeking college graduate aiming for leadership positions in reputable companies. During employment interview, Alice cites her undergraduate degree to worry that she's fully qualified for her dream job, but the manager notes that the opposite applicants either have master's degrees or 10 years of experience. While Alice continues trying to find jobs at the classifieds, Arnie, their landlord, stops by the house to gather their rent. Alice hands over a check, but she asks Arnie to not cash it until the tip of the week. Arnie wonders why Alice ended up penniless when she was voted presumably to achieve high school. When he sees John arrive, he surmises that he must be the explanation for Alice's misfortune. Later, Alice checks their checking account online and learns that their money isn't enough to get their rent. That night, the couple head to a celebration congratulating their high school friend Peyton for landing a replacement job. Upon their arrival, they discover that they are underdressed for the occasion. While they stare at Peyton with envy, Alice notes that she copied her homework 7 years ago while spending most of her time fornicating with jocks. John then points out that she just landed her 6-figure desk job thanks to her father's influence. The couple is delighted after they see Chuck and Louise arrive, as they don't seem to be the sole underdressed guests at the party anymore. Later, Louise tells Alice that she's depressed because she didn't get a scholarship and went broke after paying her mother's hospital bills. The unfortunate couples spend the remainder of the night getting drunk and having fun to ditch their financial troubles. Within the morning, Alice and John head to the foodstuff to shop for some food. On the way, a truck slams into their vehicle as they taste an intersection. Luckily, nobody got hurt. When the police arrive, they discover that somebody had sawed off the stop sign. Because the men discuss the accident, Alice notices an elderly woman walking out of an antique shop on the opposite side of the road to require a brass teapot from a drum. Alice gets curious and decides to follow the lady into the shop. When she gets inside, she sees the girl putting down the teapot on the table. John soon enters the shop to inform her that their car can still run despite the damage. Alice tells him that she wants to stay around to work out if they may find something they might present at the upcoming antique roadshow. Alice decides to grab the brass teapot and run out of the shop while the girl is on the phone. As soon as she gets within the car, she tells John to drive. John doesn't realize that Alice stole something until she shows him the teapot. While trying to secure an employment interview, Alice accidentally hurts herself with a household appliance and sees the brass teapot rattling. When she inspects it, she finds $200 inside. When she burns herself with the iron again, she finds extra money within the teapot. Alice then continues hurting herself intentionally to urge more cash. At the telemarketing office, Mr. Tudor, the manager, informs John that they are shedding some employees, and he's the primary to urge fired. John objects because he's been there longer than most employees, but Tudor notes that the management didn't decide supported seniority. John soon comes home and finds the house in shambles. When he gets to the bedroom, he sees Alice lying in bed with a head wound. Not long, Alice gets up and assures John that she's all right. Alice learns that John has been fired and tells him to not worry. She then smacks John within the face and shows him the money that materialized inside the teapot. Alice discloses that the teapot gives them money after they get hurt. John thinks that she put the money within the teapot before hitting him, so she empties the teapot and knees him within the groin to prove that there is something magical about the item. Later, John expresses his uneasiness about making money from the teapot, but Alice is set to use it to drag them out of poverty. Within the morning, John returns to the antique shop to return the item without Alice's knowledge, but he finds out that it's already closed. John then takes the teapot to the antique roadshow, which is being broadcast on TV. When Dr. Li Ling sees the teapot on TV, he immediately marks its location on the map. The antique dealer tells John that the teapot probably came from the Center East or ancient China and estimates its value at $5,000. John takes the teapot back home and tells Alice that they will keep using it if they promise to prevent before it gets out of control. Alice says she's going to only use it until they create their first million. The couple soon carries the teapot to different establishments that provide services that involve pain. Alice goes for a Brazilian wax, while John visits the dentist. Afterward, they both head to a tattoo shop. The couple manages to accumulate $194,000 after surfing all the pain. They cannot put the cash within the bank because they cannot explain it to the IRS, so that they hide it within the toilet tank. Alice wants to form it into a good $200,000, in order that they find yourself spanking one another. When the couple visits Alice's family, they begin getting questions about where their money comes from. John then quips that they are selling Alice's eggs to sterile women. Alice's sister, Mary, asks the couple if they arrange to have a baby soon, but Alice notes that she's not too keen on biological process. After paying off all their debts, Alice and John make plans to shop for what they've always wanted. However, their planning is interrupted after they get a play the door. Alice immediately hides the teapot under the pillow while John sees who it's. Jewish brothers, Gilad and Yoel, soon barge into the house and beat up John to compel him to provide them the teapot. Gilad notes that he knows they need it because he saw John with the teapot on the TV. He discloses that their grandmother risked her life to get the item. Alice claims that she bought it from the lady for an inexpensive price, but Gilad points out that his grandmother mentioned that her teapot was missing before she died. As they continue beating up John, Alice tells them that they sold the teapot. Yoel stresses that they need the cash, so Alice grabs all the cash from the teapot while keeping it hidden and provides the money to the brothers. After it's slow, John and Alice plan to visit the library to find out about the teapot. Alice finds pages of knowledge about the antique in an exceedingly book about magical objects and potions, but the one that catches her eye could be a drawing depicting the implications of using it. While John isn't looking, Alice tears up the page and hides it in her bag. John finds a warning about the results of owning the teapot on the remaining pages, but he can't find to any extent further details because they're on the torn page. Alice asserts that they couldn't get reliable information from the book because it's really old, so she tells John to not worry and suggests spending a number of the cash. Soon, John and Alice buy a car and other extravagant items. They also buy a Zero in an opulent neighborhood next to Peyton's house. During the housewarming party, Lee rings the doorbell and introduces himself as a member of the Theosophist Society, which includes an interest in antique items. John wants to listen to what Lee needs to say about the teapot, but Alice fears that Lee might steal it. John tells Lee that they donated the teapot to a museum, but Lee refuses to believe him. He warns the couple that they're in grave danger, but Alice ignores him and slams the door in his face. One night, Arnie visits them to ask them how they'll afford their home. When he sees Alice clutching the teapot, Arnie grabs it and runs out of the house. Upon reaching his truck, Arnie throws the teapot on the road and runs over it. The teapot sustains some damage, but it immediately fixes itself before Alice can retrieve it. Later that night, the couple visits Lee in his sleeping room to find out more about the teapot. Lee reveals that the society has been tracking it down, but it disappeared from a German concentration camp in 1945. Lee warns that the teapot will draw the evil out of its owners and cause great harm. Alice asserts it won't affect them because they're good, but Lee notes that everybody starts thinking that way. Lee asks them to convey him the article, claiming that he will get obviated. He points out that the teapot cannot be destroyed, but he can hide it during a place where nobody else can find it. Alice convinces John to stay the teapot because she thinks Lee only wants it for himself. She assures John that things will never get out of control because they're good people. One night, Alice and John get up to search out Gilad and Yoel breaking into their house to require the cash they hid within the bathroom. Alice then pushes John out of the bedroom to force him to confront the brothers, but they solely scoff at him. Not long, Alice comes out of the bedroom, carrying the teapot. The brothers reveal that they knew that they had the teapot the full time, but they are not curious about taking it. They note that they merely want the cash and advise them to eliminate the teapot before it's too late. Gilad notes that their grandmother suffered thanks to it and divulges that she was the one who sawed off the stop sign in the road to cause an accident. Alice starts hitting the brothers with the teapot to forestall them from leaving with the money. John joins the scuffle, but he gets knocked out after slamming into a door. Because the brothers try to flee, Alice hangs on to the bag of cash, but one amongst the brothers knocks her out. In the morning, Alice castigates John for failing to prevent the brothers. Soon after the robbery, John and Alice try making extra money by hurting themselves, but only small bills emerge from the teapot. They realize that the item isn't producing the maximum amount because it accustomed, in order that they work out that they have some other person to harm them badly. While carrying the teapot in a very purse, John approaches an ex-convict during a bar and humps him. The person responds by grabbing his rear, so John slaps him within the face. The person then starts beating him up brutally until he's knocked unconscious on the ground. The following day, Lee stops by the house to warn John that the teapot will soon destroy their lives if they do not get obviated. One day, Alice finds money within the teapot after a skater trips near her and hurts his leg. Later, she shows the money to John and hints that the teapot also produces money when people have gotten hurt. The couple soon visits different establishments to induce near people in pain. After watching an MMA fight, they visit a tattoo shop and a ward. While trying to seek out more people in pain, Alice tries to run over a homeless man, but John grabs the wheel to avoid hitting him. John points out that they have to prevent using the teapot because they're losing control, but Alice argues that John just couldn't follow through on things he started. Alice laments that he never advanced in his career irrespective of how hard he's employed, so John points out that he would have saved some money if he did not have to support a wife who insists on applying for the highest job positions rather than starting at the underside. Alice gets upset and gets out of the vehicle with the teapot. When she avoids a car passing by, she notices money beginning of the thing and realizes that it also produces cash from emotional pain. More cash comes out when she insults John by claiming that she's too good for him. Alice urges John to reveal a secret that might hurt her, so John discloses that he kissed Peyton during a brand New Year's Eve party, and he still worries it when he kisses Alice. The couple continues telling hurtful secrets to every other after they return home. Lots of cash comes out of the teapot when Alice reveals that Arnie went down on her before they were married, and he or she returned the favor. John then goes to Arnie's house and tells his wife, Brandy, what happened between her husband and Alice. When Arnie headbutts John in anger, Alice drops her bag on the bottom to assist her husband. Arnie notices the teapot within the bag and points out that it should have been destroyed. As he inspects it, he sees the cash inside before Alice can take it back. Soon, Alice and John run out of hurtful things to mention to every other, so that they conceive to move to Peyton's house to inform her husband Ricky that Peyton killed his dog by leaving him in an exceedingly hot car. Afterward, John goes to his old workplace to indicate Mrs. Tudor pictures of her husband having an affair with an intern. The couple tries telling Mary's husband, Joe, that their kid isn't really his, but Alice can't undergo with it. She finally ends up confessing to Mary that she's jealous of Mary's family because they find happiness so easily. That night, Alice comes up with a concept for one big score by removing a pedophile or a felon. They start digging a grave within the forest, but John eventually stops because he thinks they are going too far. Alice continues digging, so John leaves her and visits Lee to enkindle his advice. Lee discloses that they have to willingly give the teapot to him because it is the only thanks to neutralize its power. However, he doesn't think it'll happen because he believes it's already too late for them. Lee vows to follow the teapot until he finds an owner who will hear him. After Alice takes a shower that evening, she sees a ghoulish face when she looks at herself within the mirror. When she gets out of the lavatory, she finds John sitting by the window, clutching the teapot. Hinting that he will leap out of the window, John makes Alice promise to prevent using it and provides it to Lee. Alice asks him to induce down from the window and promises to eliminate the teapot immediately, but John decides to leap to convince her that he follows through on his decisions. Alice immediately runs all the way down to John, ignoring the money flying out of the teapot. When John regains consciousness, Alice promises him that she'll get obviate the cursed object. That night, Arnie breaks into the house and steals the teapot. Alice decides to let him go and eliminate everything they acquired from the antique, but John notes that they cannot let Arnie use it. Within the morning, they immediately head to Arnie's house to confront him. Nobody answers the door, in order that they try opening it and discover it's unlocked. Soon after they get inside, Arnie emerges and points a gun at them. John knocks the gun out of his hand when Arnie attempts to shoot Alice. John and Arnie come to blows as Arnie refuses to surrender the teapot. Suddenly, Brandy appears with the teapot and a shotgun. The couple tells Alice and John to urge down on the bottom, so that they comply. As they prepare to shoot them, Gillard and Yoel storm into the house and ask Arnie to provide them the teapot. After they refuse, Gillard shoots Arnie within the gut. John and Alice hide behind a couch as Brandy engages the brothers in an exceedingly shootout. When the gunfight ceases, Alice and John find plenty of cash scattered round the house while the brothers and therefore the couple lie dead on the ground. Presently, Alice and John leave the house carrying the teapot and therefore the money that came out of it. They find Lee outside awaiting them, so Alice hands over the teapot to him. Lee reveals that thousands of powerful people have held the item before them, but only a few had the strength to let it go. Months later, Alice sends a check for $250,000 to Louise. Meanwhile, John and Alice drive to the border in their old car to boost a family in Mexico. Lee rides a ferry and drops the teapot within the middle of the ocean, where nobody will ever find it. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel, and don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.